Hey there, my name is Travis Kassab, and the title of this is my number one misconception about UX. When I was young, I said a lot of things about what I wanted to be when I grew up, but looking back on all of it, the only thing I was really ever interested in was alchemy. And while I still have yet to turn lead to gold, here I still am trying to create something of value from nothing. I can at least say my approach has evolved over the years, and in the most recent season of my life, UX research was my alchemy. I believed I would extract valuable product ideas from it. At first, I thought users would tell me what they needed, but after the first several studies, I realized that this is not the case, that users cannot do this. Users do not consciously know what they want or need. Even if they did, they wouldn't be able to tell me for my purposes. After all, how could Mr. Ford's future customers have asked for an automobile with wheels in an age of horses and hooves? That's okay though. The experienced researcher will tell you that the point of research is not to have the user tell you what to build, but to gain an understanding of the user and then infer what the product should be based on this understanding. And I agree this is possible. I've seen it done many times. Any product team can map product features from user research. However, this explanation takes for granted the all-important initial step where the user group and use case were decided on. Research and design cannot proceed before these decisions are made. Otherwise, how would you know who to talk to and about what? The point is that before research and design have taken place, deep assumptions have already been made about the product. These assumptions affect everything downstream and are actually the leading cause of death, product death, not the product team's execution. So let's use the analogy of painting a picture. By the time most UX teams get a hold of the canvas, the product has already been outlined. We may have trouble imagining what the end product will look like, but someone has already established what it will do and who it is for. Thus, UX research and design is like paint by numbers. We fill in the details and control how everything looks. However, no amount of coloring can change the original content and form of the image. Is this art? I would not try to answer objectively. I can answer personally that the interesting step is going from A to B because I argue this is when the product is truly architected. This is the product's true 0 to 1 moment from blank canvas to outline. The image is set then. So several things follow from this. When you start from B, you have less control over C than you might realize. And I think this is where most of the dissatisfaction stems from for researchers and designers, that they continuously find themselves coloring within the lines of a product that they don't believe in. This is the feeling of having your hands tied, that nothing you do makes a difference. This is the thought that the product is already dead before version 1 has shipped. You know things are wrong with or vague about the product, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And even if you did put your finger on it, you'd still be stuck with it. And that is the fundamental problem. You're not able to pivot away from the initial idea. Thus, its faulty assumptions about use case and user group will compromise all downstream effort. So here's your sanity check. How free are you to scrap the product concept and start back at zero? A lot is said about agile product development, but in my opinion, you're not agile unless you have this full reset at your disposal. And also the amount of time that needs to pass before you can hit this reset matters as well. You probably don't want a trigger finger, but it's safe to assume that it can be reduced from what it is for most corporate product teams. Actually, that's a lie. Most corporate product teams don't have a reset button in the first place. Finally, with great power comes great responsibility. If you have the power to reset back to zero, it is your responsibility to eventually get back to one. The most common complaint I hear from UXers is that they do not have a seat at the table, that design does not have a seat at the table. And what a better way to get a seat at the table than to own the product idea itself. This sounds good, but how do you go from 0 to 1? And unfortunately, there is no formula. However, there are places and people where lightning has struck more than once. Silicon Valley ushered in the PC revolution in the 80s, the internet in the 90s, social media in the aughts, and cloud computing in the 2010s. And it appears to be continuing this trend, pouring billions of dollars into startups in Web3, AI, space, renewables, health, bio, edtech, and many more. All of these startups are attempting to go from 0 to 1, and all welcome a good pivot every now and then. So one might start their search for wisdom here. At the end of the day, there's no proof that lead can be turned to gold. There is proof, however, of a expanding global GDP. There is proof that technology improves the human living standard. Perhaps I don't have to give up on alchemy after all. Thank you.